Mr. Vice President, you gave one of the most stirring speeches I can recall. It was a towering speech in front of the Hudson Institute. It was October 4th of 2018. I know I was concerned our economy might be tweaked to be able to do this, but you said, and it was somewhat prophetic, but I come before you today because the American people deserve to know that, as we speak, Beijing is employing a whole government approach using political, economic, and military tools, as well as propaganda to advance its influence and benefits its interests in the United States. Sir, if you were doing that speech now, would you include the term biological?
Well, look, what I said in 2018, the speech that I spoke on behalf of the administration, simply articulated President Trump's leadership from the very beginning. Jim, you've talked about this many times. No president in my lifetime has done more to rebalance our trading relationship and to stand up to China's abuses than President Donald Trump. And you've seen that action in recent days. And when you look at China's conduct in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, it reaffirms the strong stand that President Trump took from very early on in this administration relative to China. And now that we see China, extending its authority, violating its international agreement relative to Hong Kong, again, it's just an affirmation. What China did in keeping from the world the information that America and every nation on earth needed to deal with the coronavirus pandemic was a travesty. That the fact that China suspended travel within China but allowed people to continue to leave the Wuhan area to travel to the United States and around the world. But again, I just have to tell you that before there was a single domestic case of community transmission in the United States, the American people can take great comfort in the fact that in late January, President Trump suspended all travel from China. And I can tell you, having been leading the coronavirus task force now over the last 3 months, that act alone bought us an invaluable amount of time to stand up a whole of America response that unquestionably, because of the cooperation of the American people, because of the leadership and state and local leaders, incredible healthcare workers, and the leadership of President Trump, we slowed the spread, we flattened the curve, and we saved lives. But now going forward, we're going to continue to hold China accountable for what they did and what they failed to do to give the world the information that we all needed and deserved.
Mr. Vice President, not to get too wonky, but money supply in this country is up 80% annualized in the last 3 months as we were trying to respond to the pandemic. If the recovery really does begin today, and I know there's conflicting views about the correlation, but are you worried about inflation? Is the White House on guard for inflation?
Well, we're always mindful of inflation, but I must tell you, one of the numbers that our economic team presented to the president and me earlier this week is that savings are up across the country. And make no mistake about it, the president's priority from early on in this process was first the health of the American people. It's why we asked the American people in the middle of March to do extraordinary things, to embrace the guidelines for America, the mitigation, the social distancing. But the second thing was the president wanted to make sure that the American people, starting with families, had the direct support necessary to make their way through this time that fell upon our nation. And I want to tell you that the numbers that are coming out today, what we're hearing in states across the country as Americans are returning to work, I think is a real testament to the decisions that the president made, the bipartisan support that we had for those relief efforts on Capitol Hill. And that's where we're going to stay focused in the days ahead, making sure the American people, American businesses, large and small, are able to fully recover and then some. But I do want to tell you that we're going to do what needs to be done to bring this economy all the way back. What we believe the real threat to the economic recovery going forward are the policies of Joe Biden, the policies of Democrats in Congress. They're already advocating raising taxes, increasing regulation, the Green New Deal, restarting the war on coal, all the opposite direction that laid that solid foundation President Trump laid that created more than 7 million jobs. That's the foundation that you see in evidence today, the strength of the American people, the fundamental strengths of this economy, and that's the path that we're going to keep this nation on for the rest of this year and for 4 more years.